Good morning, beloved community. We're not able to be in person at church today due to the inclement weather, but I feel that Spirit has gathered us here and now, and I pray that you will feel the warmth of our love, no matter where you're joining us from. We hope to have the church open again on Sunday, the February the 8th, and we will be able to joyously be with one another once again. So today I want to share a message with you that has been laid in my heart. I will share the message and, offer a short reflection, and then we will give you an announcement and we will close in prayer. So the message that I have for you today is called The Path of Peace. It's very interesting how I planned for this message a month ago, and I feel like it is so timely right now. So much has happened in just 1 week's time. We had to brace ourselves for this winter storm and hanker down because many of us could not even leave our homes. Our driveways were blocks of ice. And it was like that through many states in our nation. We was hankered in. And during this time, many of us, for the comfort of our home, watched what was unfolding in our nation. We watched with some horror. And the air right now feels so thick with grief and with fear and with anger and uncertainty. It's a trying times. And I'll be honest with you, when I sat down this week to prepare for this sermon, I was at a loss for words. Nothing was coming through as it normally does. Instead, what I was receiving was a lot of questions. Like, what in the world would peace look like in these times, these very unsettling times? What is Spirit trying to show us? What is wanting to be born? Question after question after question. That's all I had. And at some point, I realized that I needed to step away from the blank screen that I was looking at and really set some time aside for quiet contemplation, time to be with Spirit, for I knew not where to go. And it was in those quiet moments that I was able to finally receive something that I can share with you today. I have always felt that peace was a calm inner state of being. And that's true. That is true. But I'm beginning to learn that as we evolve more, peace is much more than a state of being. It is the quiet courage to stay awake, to stay present, even when everything around us is wanting us to shut down, to stay awake, stay awake, remembering that what looks like chaos is really something is getting ready to be born. And in these moments, what I spirit is set into my heart, what is wanting to be born is a deeper love, a more steadier love, a love that refuses to turn away from the suffering or the injustice that we are witnessing, a love that does not collapse or retaliate, but stands firm, firm in spiritual truth and in our oneness. So the call for us at this moment is not, it's more to be anchored in God, anchored in the spiritual principles that we must live, anchored in the knowing that the Christ within us is not shaken by the turmoil that we see in the world. We are really being called to remain unwavering in our resolve to live the spiritual truths that have been revealed to us, even when it feels so uncomfortable, even when it asks more of us than we are willing to give. Because this is the hour, this is the now hour when awakened people are most needed. So if you're feeling, angry or anxious or weary or unsure, you are not alone. You are not alone. You are responding normally to an abnormal amount of uncertainty that's happening in the world. And your heart is trying simply to make sense of all this unsteadiness. So our spiritual work is not to bypass what's happening. It never is, but to stay rooted in what is unfolding, to breathe and to return to love again and again and again and again. Because right now, fear may be loud, but it is not the deepest truth. Love has the power to cast out fear. We may not know what comes next. None of us do. None of us have a crystal ball, not really. But we do know that we are spiritual beings that have come here to have a human experience, that we are fully capable of meeting these times with compassion and with clarity and with courage. We are the light of the world. We are the salt of the earth. We are fully equipped with spiritual powers because we have come for such a time as this. So, peace in this moment is the quiet refusal to let fear have the final word. It is that inner stance within us that says, I will not move from love, period. I know I don't have the answers. I don't. I have very little answers. But I'm here to say to you today that I am committed to walk through this time with you because I trust there is a higher power that is going to guide us through this. And something very remarkable will unfold. We're not being asked to carry the weight of the world. We're being asked to love it, to hold the world in love, to be a calm and honest, vulnerable, welcoming presence where people can exhale, where the hearts can soften, and where spirit can really reach us and speak to us. I spoke with Joe this week, saying to him that I know that peace begins with me. I know that. But I'm struggling with having peace when there's so much suffering. And almost instantaneously, as I said those words, I felt like something rise up within me, an answer saying that peace is not the absence, it's not the absence of suffering. If it is, then Jesus, our way shower, would have no peace. But that is not true. Jesus himself said to us, my peace I give to you, not as the world gives. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. So his peace was never dependent on the circumstances that were around him. It was grounded. It was aligned. The peace, he had that peace of knowing who he was and what he had come here to embody. And it did not require him to deny that there was suffering or to avoid it. So I had to ask you, and I had to ask myself, what does peace look like in this moment in time? For me, peace looks like letting your heart break. Just let it break. Cry if you must. But don't let yourself be hardened. Don't let your heart be hardened. Peace looks like allowing yourself to grieve and to move through that grief without drowning in it. And peace looks like staying connected to love, even when the voice of fear wants to drown it out. Your emotions are not obstacles to the spiritual life that you are living. They are messengers. They reveal where love is needed, where healing is calling, where action needs to be taken. I look at these monks that are making this incredible journey. A march for peace. I look at the people in Minnesota who are standing in frigid conditions, standing for one another. These are signs of what an awakened heart can peacefully do. And it is quite powerful. So don't be afraid if you have feelings that feel somewhat uncomfortable. Let your emotions inform you, not define you. Let them open your heart. Let it open your heart and not close it. And let it guide you back to the truth of who you are. You are a living expression of God, capable of meeting this moment with courage and with clarity and with compassion. Cultivate inner peace. Carve time every day, several times a day if you need to, for prayer and meditation. Go to source. Your inner peace does not deny the brokenness of the world. It will help you. It will help you to meet it unafraid, knowing that even in this brokenness, the world is still beautiful and still worthy to be loved. Perhaps the loss of words that we find we're having is an invitation to be still and to know God, to listen to the guidance of spirit rather than letting what you see cause you to go out in ways that are not in alignment with who you are. Go out aligned, knowing what is yours to do in your home, in your workplace, in your community, in your place of worship, wherever you are, that you may be a presence of peace. I don't deny that we're living in times of crisis, because we are, but we don't need to be afraid. We don't need to be afraid. History has shown us over and over again that extraordinary transformation often emerges in times of crisis. And I have to ask myself, why is that? Well, because crisis shakes us awake. And crisis reveals what is no longer working. And crisis exposes the fractured places that we've ignored. Crisis challenges us and asks us, who will you be now? What will you stand for now? What will you embody now? Dr. Martin Luther King said that darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. And hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. So now is the time to exercise radical love, the kind that Jesus, our way shower, modeled for us, the kind that commits itself to loving our neighbors as ourselves, the kind that values and honor the dignity and worth of every human being. A few days ago, the season of nonviolence began. It began on January the 30th with the anniversary of the assassination of Mahatma Gandhi, and it ends on April 4th with the anniversary of the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King. And this is a 64-day period that is intended to help us form a spiritual container, inviting people from all over the world to embody nonviolence in our thoughts, in our words, and in our actions. Both Mahatma Gandhi and Dr. King remind us that nonviolence is the presence of peace and moral courage. It is a willingness to stand in truth without surrendering to hatred. It is a discipline of love in the face of fear. It is the absolutely fierce conviction that every human being carries a spark of the divine. So peace is not always an easy path to walk, but it is the right path and the path that we must choose. So I ask you, what is it that you would need to release to walk the path of peace? What is it that you would need to embrace? Unity stands for peace in the presence of conflict, for love in the presence of hatred, for forgiveness in the presence of injury. We honor the many names for God and the many paths to God and the many ways to worship God. For there is only one power and one presence in the universe and in our lives, God the good. And that presence loves each and every one of us equally. Unity urges that all nations and all leaders and people turn to God for guidance and to pursue peace. For this is what honors the God of all our faith traditions. Unity teaches that God, the God of your being, is everywhere present. Therefore, God is also present in whatever it is that is unfolding here, whatever is happening. It is the presence that will guide us and strengthen us so that we can be the instruments of peace that the world so desperately needs. So do not be numbed by despair. Yes, mourn the pain of the world, and let your mourning become compassion rather than paralysis. And hunger and thirst after righteousness, not self righteousness, but right consciousness, right action, right use of your spiritual powers. Because we have a universal responsibility to help guide the course of history towards the welfare of all beings. For we understand that we are one. We are one. What happens to one happens to all of us. It impacts all of us. But remember that action without discernment can lead to chaos. So always seek guidance, seek to be grounded, and then act boldly to do what is yours to do. If you walk this path of peace, you must be willing to examine your reactivity. Why do you react the way that you do? You must challenge your assumptions and soften your judgments and listen more than you speak. And choose love when fear can sometimes be so much easier. Refuse to dehumanize even those that you disagree with. And be willing to change. Be willing to grow spiritually and emotionally. Speak. Yes, speak. Do not remain silent. Because silence sometimes is so much easier, and we're being challenged to be courageous. Act when apathy would be so much safer. This is our sacred work at this moment. This is courageous work. And when I think about this kind of work, I think about Jesus. If Jesus always showed we're here today, where would you find him? Not in the halls of power, I don't believe, and not in the comfort of what feels familiar, not in the safety of silence either. You would find him at the margins. You would find him with the hurting. You would find him with the overlooked, with the ones that the world has forgotten, with the ones that cry out for justice, with the ones that long to be free. And I would think that if Jesus were here, he would turn to us and he would look at us, you and me, and say, "Follow me." So, my question, the question I want to leave you with is, what will you do with that invitation today? What would you do? Namaste. I invite you to take that question into your meditation. Take a moment to gently close your eyes if that feels comfortable for you, and take a deep breath. And as you breathe, Shut out the outer world and center yourself in your sacred heart. Jesus is saying to you, follow me, follow my example, be with the hurting. Do not remain silent. Follow me. Sit with that for a moment. What are you willing to do with this invitation? Will you say, here I am, Lord. I have heard you calling in the night. I will follow and go with you where you lead me. I will hold your people in my heart. For this time, we're called to rise, rise above the fear, rise courageously in the power of love, rise with wisdom, with understanding, and with courage. For you are the light of the world, and only light can dispel darkness. You are love, and only love will conquer hate. Follow me, says Jesus. And take a moment and take another breath. And when you're ready, open your eyes. I encourage you to sit with that call to follow in the footsteps of Jesus and see what Spirit will reveal to you. I had just but one announcement. I was going to do several, but I'll just have one. We have a prayer vigil that has been moved to February the 19th. That's a Thursday at 6 p.m. I'm feeling such a strong, strong urge to pull us together for such a time as this in prayer. This will be an interfaith prayer vigil. We have several interfaith leaders that will be joining us. What a better way to commit ourselves to walk in the path of peace, to stand together in oneness, and to live the truth that we know. So I urge you to make every effort to attend. If you need a ride, please call the church and let them know that you need a ride, and we will try to find a way to have someone bring you. Invite friends, tell everyone that you know. Let us make this such a powerful statement that will strengthen us as we go forward in our walk towards peace. I love and I bless you all. And I hope to see you very, very soon. So right now, may the light of God surround you. The love of God enfold you. The power of God protect you. And the presence of God watch over you. Wherever you are, God is. And all is well. Be safe, be warm, and be the peace that you have come here to be. Namaste.